What's good, JDs and Lettleman? Today we're going to talk about daily bias, how I like to find daily bias, how I really do it, and how I recommend you to do it. All right, so first things first is understand your model. Okay, so my model is really reliant on imbalances. Okay, so what does that mean? That means on the higher time frames, I am looking for imbalances. Okay. Now, for you guys, your model might be different than mine, which means might want to find daily bias different than how I find daily bias, okay? But because of my model, I rely heavily on imbalances and SMTs on the higher time frames, okay? Um, Another thing that's very important for all types of models is looking at like what the previous session did. What did London session do? What did Asia session do? Okay. And then from there, you can use that to help you find your daily bias. Okay. So let's see. If this was Friday. Okay. Actually, I think Thursday was a really good day. Yeah. Okay. So Thursday, I was bearish. This past Thursday, I had a bearish daily bias, and then we'll just go ahead and cut this off and then walk through why I was bearish. Okay. We are going to need both charts actually because you'll see in a bit. But I honestly rarely use the daily. And I mean rarely. I will only ever click this when I look at the 4 hour and I see nothing. Okay. If I click the 4 hour and I see absolutely nothing here, I usually I'll go to the daily and see if there's something. Okay. But in most cases, I'm honestly just on the 4 hour and I'm not even on the 2 hour. I don't know why that's there, but these are really the 4 hour there is the main time frames I use. Okay. So boom, we're on the 4 hour. Now, what do I see? I do see this imbalance right here. Okay. Remember, I'm very imbalance heavy. Okay. But another thing to think about is this is kind of far away. Okay, so this would not be take profit 1 for me. This is pretty far away from where price is currently at, so I would also keep that in mind. Okay. Now, what else do I see? So you can see here, we have this 4 hour SMT. So you can see here, this high on ES with this high. So you can see here on the NASDAQ, we swept it. On ES, we weren't even close. Okay. So that's boom. Hourly SMT targeting an imbalance. Okay. Let's go down to the 1 hour, or actually let's go down to the 30. Boom. And then I see another SMT. Okay. What do we see here? ES doesn't take this out, and Q takes this out. Okay, and this is all pre-market. I mean, I do think I accidentally cut a little bit of like market open, but yeah. So now at this point, I'm bearish. I'm really really bearish. Okay, that's my bias. That's my bias for the day. And what do I want to see? I want to see us come to this hourly fair value gap. Okay. Once again, this is really far away, so I understand that. So that's not going to be take profit 1. You could have profits here, profits here, profits here, and then maybe one contract running all the way down here because this is pretty far away. And then we can just go ahead and let it run and then see what happens. And bank. Right. And I ended up actually taking this trade. I entered somewhere here, I believe. Right. That's how I found my daily bias. Now we can also do on this Friday, which I had the right bias, but I did not take the trade, which we will talk about. And I was bullish for this day. Let's go ahead and talk about why. And I'll honestly just run you through this Friday price action. Okay. So on the out 4 hour, right? Remember, understand your model. Okay. What do I see on the 4 hour? We're close to an imbalance. So what does that mean for me? That means we are very, very likely that we are going to fill in this imbalance. So I have this marked out as take profit. Okay. Then we have this 4 hour SMT. Once again, what do we see? An SMT targeting an imbalance. Bang. It's barbecue chicken, boys. 1 hour. What do I see? We see this fair value gap that's about to get invalidated, right? What else do I see? This 1 hour BPR, right, which is two overlapping fair value gaps, balanced price range. What do we see? This is the second fair value gap. Sorry, but this is the first fair value gap. So our double overlapping range is our BPR. Okay, so and the BPR is a stronger draw on liquidity than just a fair value gap. Okay, but I actually did not have this. No, I did. Once again, I didn't take the trade. I'm not gonna act like and I will show you where my entry would have been and how I unfortunately did not catch the trade. But this was our 4 hour fair value gap. Remember, this was going to be take profit 2, this 15-minute imbalance, and then take profit 3, which was going to be my final take profit, is the 1 hour BPR. Okay, so those are my take profits, right? We see them. 4 hour fair value gap, 15-minute fair value gap, 1 hour BPR. Okay. Why am I bullish again? I use imbalances a lot. So, since we are close to an imbalance, I am assuming we are going to fill it, which is right here. We also see an hourly SMT, which is here. And another thing that I saw, which is why I was really, really ready to enter pre-market, is once again on the 15-minute, respecting the fuck out of this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay. So, boom, I have a lot of confluence now, and this is all pre-market. We are still pre-market here, boys. So, what happens? We'll go ahead and play a little bit. Pretty sure, okay, yeah. So right here, now, this is July, okay? These past few weeks, bro, I have a daily bias, and it's right, and then we literally, fill in all my take profits within 2 minutes, bro. And it was market would open, and we would literally go all the way up here in 3 minutes and just go straight up. No retrace, no nothing. So then it's okay, I just lost my trade, my daily bias trade. So when this first candle happened this Friday, I was like, oh, great, it's doing it again, and I'm cooked. But it didn't, right? We luckily go down. And then when we're right here, if we respected this fair value gap, I was going to go ahead and enter. Unfortunately, I don't think we did. Yep, we didn't. Okay. So now at this point, what did I wanted to see? I honestly wanted to see an SMT with some low, which is what I was looking for, but never really, you don't get it. So once again, just playing out. Okay. And then I'm looking at this we're still dumping, right? But I still see this fair value gap. Okay. And if we invalidate this, I might enter. But once again, that's just on the 1 minute, so it doesn't mean much. Okay. We start ripping. We invalidate. This is all I wanted, and I would have taken a trade. Now, like I said, I was bullish this day. I wanted this 4 hour fair value gap, 15-minute fair value gap, 1 hour BPR. Okay. Now, honestly, because of this move down, right? If we created an SMT with one of these lows, if somehow ES, this is what I wanted. ES to take out this low, and then NASDAQ not to. But you can see both pairs don't take out the low. So no SMT, okay? If one of these pairs took out this low and we created an SMT, I probably would have entered right here off of this market structure shift. Market structure shift would have been off this high. Sorry, that high. It would have entered off this candle shifted structure to the upside. Would have entered here. Stop loss here. Here. Okay. I was so excited when we were all the way down here because obviously if we are going to go up, if I think we're going to go up, I want us to go down first. as like, and I know that kind of like sounds like, contrary to what I want, but I want a better entry. And you got to be confident in the markets, you know what I'm saying? So when market opened and we were going down, I wasn't mad, but I didn't want extra confluence because of it. I wish we took out one of these lows. This would have been an A++ setup. I probably would have risked 2%. We would have an SMT on the high time frames, SMT on the low time frames, doing everything. Just perfect setup for me. But luck, unfortunately, we don't. So, and we do invalidate this 1 minute fair value gap, right? We do. We invalidated right here. But all I wanted was a little bit more confirmation, and I just wanted us to retrace back into this. Now, I know we also have a BPR, right? This is our BPR. I didn't even want to retrace to the BPR because I didn't think we would, because this is pretty strong volume, right? I literally just wanted an entry back to this fair value gap. I had a buy set right here. Stop loss was going to be under the fair value gap. Take profit 1, obviously, 4-hour imbalance. Take profit 2, 15-minute imbalance. Take profit 3, 1-hour BPR. Okay. Now literally just watch what happens to me. I get just edged. Do you see this? I get edged. I almost got my entry. And then it just runs to take profit 1. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And it's just we don't even gotta watch it, boys. We don't even have to watch it, but y'all get the point. I would have made a lot of money, but yeah. So, but once again, you gotta go into the market with an intentional plan. You have to be like, I want this, and this to happen, and I will enter. And I wanted to retrace into that fair value gap and see buying pressure out, and then I would have entered. We didn't get it. I didn't enter. And it is what it is. I'm not gonna tweak out about it. We can go ahead and do one more day. This is Wednesday. I honestly I don't remember. I can't even remember if I traded this day, but we'll do one more example. Another thing I want to talk about is, I know I just like briefly mentioned it in the beginning, but do look at what the previous session did, right? So you can see this previous session we just ripped up, right? So there's not really much. We took out all these highs, previous day highs. So this might be like an idea that like, oh, I might be bearish. Okay, look at what the previous session did. Okay, did we take out a high? Did we take out a low? Like look at the previous session. Previous session is what matters most. Okay, look at London session and look at Asia session. Those matter the most. And remember, every person, you are going to find daily bias different. Okay, but one thing that does matter is there are confluences that work for every time frame. Confluences such as imbalances in SMTs, right? Order blocks as well, stuff like that, equilibrium. But structural things, I do not recommend using them as to help you find daily bias. I would not look at this and be like, oh yeah, we're in bullish structure. We broke structure to the upside with this candle right here. I think we are going to continue bullish. So actually we were in bear structure here. We break bears here and we break bull. Yeah, so we broke structure to the upside right here. Okay. You can't just be like, obviously this is on the 1 minute, so this doesn't mean shit, but where is it? Yeah, it is. But do not use a break of structure. Do not use a market structure shift. Do not use a change in state of delivery. Those confluences are more 1 minute confluence, more of like, okay, this is my last confluence. I want to make sure we're in bullish structure since I'm in a bullish trade. Okay, I would not use those type of confluences on the higher time frames. I really would not. Okay, yes, trends are a thing. Okay, but at the same time, it's not really like this. It can break. We could be bearish. okay? And a good example of why I think that's a bad idea is, what if we are on the 4 hour? Wait, this might have been, yeah. What if we are on the 4 hour and we see these two fat white candles, right? What if we're on the 4 hour and there's like 3 more, okay? You're gonna tell me you're still bullish, but just because we're in a bullish structure? No, bro. Honestly, I would be bearish that day. Why? Because being overextended is also something I use to help me find my daily bias, okay? Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? So, clearly we know, right? We're not donuts. We know that the market moves like this, right? And in times that we do move like this, we know we're going to get a rebalance into the 50% range, which is equilibrium, and then we can continue higher, right? And then that's when you can take a trade off. Holy, can we talk about like how I knew exactly where 50% was? Holy. But we know we're going to rebalance, okay? We know that. So if we open the market in the morning, okay, and we just see straight, just boom, right? What does that tell me for my daily bias? Honestly, my daily bias that day is bearish. Yes, we're in bullish structure. Yes, we're in a bullish trend. I don't care. We are overextended. We haven't got a retrace on the hourlies. We know we retrace on every time frame. We retrace on the daily, the 1, the 5, the 15. We also retrace on the hourlies. So if on the hourlies you haven't seen a bearish candle and 15 bullish candles, and all bullish candles were Drake size, right? Assume it's time for a retrace, okay? Assume. Now, that doesn't mean that your daily bias for that day is bearish, right? That just means that like that you could still be bullish that day, right? But just be aware, okay, now obviously this, I wouldn't say this is overextended. This is really just 2 bullish candles. We could easily continue higher, right? But if we were all the way down here, all the way up here, okay, and there wasn't a single bearish candle at all, and it was just straight bullish like the size of this, you can still be bullish. Okay, you can, but just know that your trade might happen later. Because if we're all the way up here and all candles are like this, I'm going to assume we're overextended. Okay, I'm going to want to see a retrace. Okay, and I personally am going to trade that hourly retrace. I, as a day trader, okay, there's obviously different types of day traders, right? There's scalpers who obviously they're not going to look at the hourlies, right? They're looking at the 15-second, the 30-second. Okay, but my type of day trading is I'm in and out in a trade in an hour, 2 hours max. 3 hours hasn't happened in a long time, but it's happened before. Okay, I'm done before 1 p.m. I don't trade PM session. I don't want to trade PM session. I'm done before 12 p.m. Okay, so for me, I find my daily bias, yes, but once again, those hourly candles mean a lot to me because that's the move that I'm catching. And most day traders are in a trade for about an hour, about 2 hours, sometimes even 45 minutes. I've been in trades for like 15 minutes before, right? But for the majority part, I'm in a trade for about an hour or 2 hours. So I care a lot about the hourly candles, okay? On the hourly, if if we're all the way overextended like this, I'm going to want a hourly retrace, and I'm catching the hourly retrace. That's what I want. I'm a day trader. I'll catch the 2 hour retrace. That's what I do, right? Now, if you have the time and we're, like I said, we're all the way up here, and you're bullish still, right? But you want to catch the full move or whatever, and you're like you want to be in it for days, I guess, I don't know. And you wait till we're in here, and then you see buying pressure out, sure, you can do that. But once again, you don't know if that's going to happen, and it might be too late for when it does happen. Just a lot of things. But for me, if we are overextended, if we are like all the way up here and they're all Drake candles, I am going to assume that the hourly candle will be a retrace. And now another thing about that is I do not trade with indicators, just letting y'all boys know. But there's something that basically just like explains what that is, and it's just called RSI. It's really just like the most famous indicator. I don't trade with indicators, right? But essentially all it is it just shows us when it just tells us when we are overextended and tells us when we are overbought and oversold. Okay, so you can see, okay, now these colors are awful, so you really can't see anything. But this green, when we surpass this line right here, and I'm not going to sit here and explain it because I don't even use this, but this is just for you to understand, okay, what overextended means. So you can see right here, so this is our line. Okay, now I actually have to change these colors. You guys are not going to be able to see anything. Who even made these colors, bro? This is insane. All right. Okay. So when you see, okay, so this is our RSI. Okay, the black line is our RSI. The white one is just the average, which doesn't matter. Okay. When we are now this top line right here, when we are above this line, this green zoned in area, that just means we are overbought, and it's time for a retrace. So you can see our overbought was right here, right? See, I'm lining it up, right? If you look at it on both, the peak here, right? What happens next? I'm clearly, and we're on the 4 hour. We get a 12-hour retrace. 3 4-hour candles that are bearish. And what did we target this for? You could have targeted this imbalance. Just like that. That's exactly what I'm trying to get y'all boys to understand. Okay? What do we see? This is a great example, honestly. This is a great example. This is insane. This is straight crazy work. Okay? You can assume that we're probably going to get a retrace soon, right? When we're all the way up here. You can tell we're overextended. We see this 4-hour imbalance. When we're all the way up here, overextended like this, you could have a bearish bias targeting this imbalance. And then once again, then you can continue higher, which is exactly what happened. This is a perfect situation of what I was explaining, right? We're overextended. Now, I personally would want to catch this move, right? But once again, this is 12 hours. I'm not even in a trade for 12 hours. I'll probably just catch one of these candles, probably half of this candle, okay? But you guys, or not you guys in general, but if you do want to still be bullish, then maybe if you saw the buying pressure out of this imbalance, then you could trade long. Does that make sense? But just understand that being overbought and also oversold is a thing, okay? And now here's another example. So you can see we've been in a downtrend for a long time, and then we see a Drake candle to the downside, right? You can see once again this area right here, when we're underneath this line right here, we are oversold. So where's the low? It's right there. You can see it. We're underneath right here. So at this point, you can assume we are going to retrace. Now, once again, we could have retraced here and then went back down, which is 100% valid. That's a valid thought. But and if you wanted to trade like that, that's completely fine. But once again, I just want the retrace. I don't care if we go up and continue lower, okay? I don't care if we go up and continue up. All I know is that we are going to retrace and continue up, right? So I could have caught just this one candle, okay? So that's another thing that matters a lot to me is just think about being overextended and oversold. So you can see right here, this red, that means, yeah, 100% I would have been bearish this day, or bullish. This is crazy. This is just straight cock work all the way down. At this point, when we're all the way down here, even with this fat gap, I literally would have just traded into the gap, into the beginning of the gap. That's it. And you can tell, like, look, like when you see how far underneath we are beneath this line. Sorry. Oops. So you can see when we're all the way down here, that's the lowest we end up going. And then we go up. And once again, I don't care if we go up and continue up, and I don't care if we go up and continue back down. I just want to move back up. So that's really the last thing is, and once again, don't ever trade indicators, but that's just explaining what overbought and like being overextended means. It's just a good explanation. But yeah, just understand what being overbought and oversold means, okay? And remember, daily bias is also found throughout your model. Okay, if you don't use it, if you are more of like a liquidity trader and you care more about liquidity sweeps and such like and stuff like that, then do that. Okay, that's fine. Okay, but understand your model. Okay, my model is imbalance reliant. Okay, I rely on imbalances a lot. So what does that mean on the higher time frames? I'm obviously going to do the same thing. Okay, if I'm on the 15 minute and I'm focused on imbalances, why would I go on the 4 hour and focus on order blocks? That makes no sense. Okay, so focus on your model. Understand that now this is just how I find daily bias. Okay, so just because this is how I do it does not mean that's how you guys need to do it. Okay, but learn your model. Okay, and make sure your daily bias is aligned with your model. Okay. Um, no matter what, though, always look at the previous session. Look at what the previous session did. That will tell you the most information. Um, and another thing is you can have a daily bias, okay, but if the market is showing you something else, it's okay to move it. Okay, you can have a daily bias of being like bullish or bearish or something like that. Okay, and then the market's just like showing you bearish. It's you don't trade against the market. You don't trade against you trade what is shown to you. Okay, and if the market is showing you bearish, then trade bearish. Okay, don't try to force a trade. Okay, trade what you're shown. Don't force anything. If you force it, you'll get cooked. Okay, so don't force it. Just trade with what you're shown. If you're bullish and you're just constantly being shown bearish, then take a bearish. Okay, but be extra cautious on those days, obviously, because you know ideally we have a daily bias and market is showing us alignment with our daily bias. So on those days, be more cautious. Like if you do switch your daily bias or de-risk or do something, okay, maybe wait for an extra confluence or something. But yeah, boys, that's really all the info I got about daily bias. This was a pretty long one, pretty yap. I honestly didn't even get to everything that I kind of wanted to. Um, but yeah, that's really everything about daily bias. Hope all that made sense. And yeah, I'll catch y'all boys. Peace.